Good morning and welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. So great to see a wonderful group here again today. Yay! Our song and pledge will be by Lori Nadd and visitor introductions by Bob Reed. And our invocation will be given by Luann Buehlinger.
Welcome, everybody. Let's take a moment for prayer or meditation. We take this time to be thankful for the opportunity to gather today in Rotary. We thank those who have prepared for this meeting and those who have provided the food and table service. With recent world issues and honoring those affected by 9/11 12 years ago, let us take this moment to enjoy our own company and our speaker who has chosen to share her time and talent with us. When we leave the meeting today, may we go back into the world and our jobs in a more focused and gentle manner following the tenets of Rotary's four-way test. Amen.
Welcome, everybody. Let's do the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You going to stay up here for support? Yes. Good. It's my privilege today to introduce our visitors and guests. You are attending Club 2500 District 6110. And I will introduce the host and their guest, and I would ask that each of you stand briefly until all have been introduced, and then we will give you a round of applause and welcome you. We have a lot of relatives today, so to speak. I think they thought they were going to get some free cake, but they didn't happen that way. Brad Anthematten has as his guest his daughter, Kristen. And Phil Viles has a prospective member, Chuck Shipley, the lawyer. Bob Jack has his wife, Alexis Jack. And Gene Budd has a guest, Anita Cabrick. Tim Caldwell has his wife, and she is Queen Patty Cake. She's also in the cake business. I will wait for a moment. You want me to introduce Jerry's guest? You want to?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll do it again.
You'll do it again. Well, okay, we'll skip them for now. That's why she's up here, to keep me straight. David Downing has a guest, Lauren Shepard, who is a co-worker. Over here. Richard Holmes has his wife, Lena Holmes. And Forrest Cameron has as his guest the managing editor of GTR, Emily Ramsey. Mark Ketchigan has his wife, Luann. Linda Bradshaw has two guests, Joanne Frizzell and Alicia Bratt. Okay. Tricia Kirkstra has a guest, Katie McPhee. And visiting Rotarians, let's give those people a round of applause. We have our visiting, I missed someone because it's on a different sheet. That's all right. Eric Ortega's wife, Linda Ortega, is with him today. And our past district governor is with us. Hi, Tom. Where are you? Now we have a visiting Rotarian, John Danner, who has a guest with him who is possibly a prospective member for our club, who is Jim Goodwin, who I believe is the editor of the Eagle publication. Don't know where they are. And we have a couple of special guests who are going to be introduced by Karen again, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I've been in Rotary with Jerry for all this time he's been in, and he has here with him a daughter, Andrea Spencer. Stand, Andrea. And his significant other is Angela Fleming. Yay. All right. Thank you, and come again.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you, Tom Wolf, at the piano. Yay, Tom. Our Rotary sponsors this week are Dick Cantrell, Vaughn Graham, Jack Mandeville, David Morgan, Scott Selman from Rich and Cartmill. Thank you. And we encourage you to do business with your fellow Rotarians. And please thank all of today's sponsors and all our volunteers. Thank you. We have a couple of committee meetings, membership, one-on-one, room 234, and programs, room 233. And in announcements, on behalf of the club, we extend condolences to Rotarian Elaine Dishman on the passing of her sister. Services were last Friday out of state. And our speaker on September 18th will be Oklahoma University President David Boren. So we have adequate seating. Please fill out those little pieces of paper. And the other thing that I ask you to do on September 18th is wear red. Now, that's going to be really hard for me. Really hard. And I may have to wear a red jacket and then flash some orange. I don't know. I'm working on it. And an update on Lynn Martin. The last word we have is that she has been transported to an Oklahoma City hospital for specialized care. So please keep Lynn in your prayers. And congratulations go out to the Crescendo Committee for an absolutely incredible evening of music Saturday night as the Tulsa Symphony Orchestra performed 2 original Sam Adler compositions in honor of Crescendo's 15th anniversary. Crescendo violinist Si Woo Kim and vocalist Sarah Coburn were absolutely extraordinary. Our symphony orchestra is over the top in talent. I encourage all of you to make at least one of their concerts this season. And we have some new members to present today, and I'm going to let Chuck Wilson begin with our newest members, and then I'll have one to follow.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I would like to introduce to you a fellow PK. Does anyone know what a PK is? Preacher's kid. Dion Smith. His father is a minister, as was mine. And I'm particularly proud to introduce Dion because his sponsor is Melissa Clark, who's out of town this week, so she's unable to be here, but she asked me to introduce him to you. He is the new executive director of the Oklahoma Blood Institute, OBI. Dion is responsible for providing life-saving blood products and services and overseeing all blood operations in northeastern Oklahoma. He and his wife, Mindy, reside in Claremore. Would you please take this time to welcome Dion to our club? And now I have my very own new member. And let me tell you how I found Chris Leggett. I went to my friend Todd Rowland, who is the head of Summit Financial Group, which is 1 block from the church, realizing there was no member of that organization in this club. And the very first person, since he was unable to make the commitment, the very first person that he thought of was Chris. Chris is a sales executive for Summit, where she markets group benefits and services. Chris loves to volunteer and has been involved in the Make-A-Wish Foundation and serves as a board member of the Tristesse Grief Center. She and her husband Mark have 2 children, Allison and Kelly, and live in Broken Arrow. Will you also welcome Chris to our club?
Now, I've had the privilege of working with Kirby Crow since coming to the county. Kirby, through his 15-year-old company, PMG, manages the Vision 2025 funds for the county and does a remarkable job. Before starting his company, Kirby worked primarily on large municipal construction projects for some 20 years. And if you say, hey, there's a water tower in Sand Springs, he'll know about it. If you say, it's amazing, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, projects that he's worked on. Well, today, PMG and PMG Native are engaged in managing projects in 3 states totaling over $400 million. The largest now being the River Spirit Margaritaville, and I think we've got a member that knows a little bit about that, Bob Jack. And other interesting tidbits about Kirby. He's a pilot. He's logged over 238 hours in his beloved Cessna 180. He's also teaching his daughter to fly. Kirby's wife, Nancy, of 26 years, is a middle school counselor for at-risk students in Sand Springs. He has 3 wonderful daughters, Amy, Molly, and Shelby. Please welcome my great friend, Kirby Crow. All right. And we have some project announcements. Casey King, would you come on down?
Thank you, President. This is the last week for business visitation signups. Sheets are on your table on what facilities are still open and what hosts still have openings there. They're filling up fast, but there's still some great ones. Yellow sheets are the ones you fill out. There was also an email sent out yesterday to those who have not registered. So remember to do that, because this is a great opportunity to learn about one of your fellow Rotarians and what their business is and what drives them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Casey. And John Raines, we've got a fun event coming up.
Thank you. I'm here for the social committee to tell you about our next event. But before I do, how many went to last event that we had at Circle Cinema? Yeah. There were 53 of us, which is awesome. It was a great movie, but it was also a great time, so much so that we all forgot to take pictures to document the event. This next event is at Post Oak Lodge. Trish here is standing with me because she's the director at Post Oak Lodge. She's somebody important there. But it's October the 6th. It begins at 1 o'clock. That's a Sunday. The weather will be 75, no wind, full sun. You can drive straight from church and eat lunch. There'll be hot dogs and drinks, chips, cookies, so you can have a full meal. This is a family event. Circle Cinema was more of an adult event. This is a family event, so bring the kids. It's $15 a person, so bring all you want. You need to sign up today because the limit is 200. So the first 200 can attend the event. We're going to cap it off there. There'll be a sign-up sheet out in the hall. You can also sign up for what is called a zip line tour, and it's a canopy tour from multiple stations. It's $49 a person for a half zip line tour, and there's slots where we have so many people per slot, so you need to get on that pretty quick so you can get your time slot that you desire. But there'll be a pole barn, there'll be hot dogs, a bonfire. You didn't need me. I did. What else we got?
No, that's good.
Volleyball, fishing, hiking, everything. So it'll be a beautiful day.
Good job.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Trish and John. Our partners in education, I think Mark Short and Paula Wood are out here. Terry Heritage are very, very pleased to announce that they have met their goal, and tomorrow they will be giving out the gift cards that mean so much to our teachers at Celia Clinton. So thank you to all of you who made that happen. It will bring a smile to their face tomorrow. Now, Desiree Doherty with an announcement.
Thank you, Karen. Last Friday, for Day of Caring, there were 12 Rotarians and guests who helped volunteer at the kickoff event at 6 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And we ended up parking cars, so Karen can park a field of 200 cars, I tell you. And thank you to all of these Rotarians you see listed here who came and who brought guests with them to help. Our next event coming up will be for the Tulsa Run on Saturday, October 26th. And we're doing this for several reasons. We are going to help the food bank. It seems that in our Rotary Club, the food bank is the charity that is most mentioned to me as a cause that we all care about. And so when I called them to ask, what could you use help with this year, they said, we're the beneficiary for Tulsa Run, so we really need a lot of volunteers to support us at that. So we're going to be manning a water station on behalf of the food bank at the Tulsa Run. And I also want to do this because Greg Gallant, Greg, are you here today? Our fellow Rotarian Greg is president of the Tulsa Federal Credit Union, and his organization is sponsoring the run this year. I think it's the first named sponsor for the run. So anyway, there's a lot of combinations for Rotary there. We hope you'd be interested in coming out to help. We're going to have 2 shifts, the 7:30 shift and the 11 o'clock shift, or 10:30, however it works out. So let me know if you'd be interested in helping. Thanks.
Thank you, Desiree. Doing double duty. And a track presentation, Eric Ortega.
Hello. Always is an honor to do these presentations, grand presentations. This is an additional fund for Show Inc. in Osapulpa. And with me is our own Margaret Butler to receive the check in their behalf and explain to us what they do.
Okay. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Rotary Club of Tulsa. Show Inc. is a United Way agency in Sapulpa. It gives job opportunities to people with developmental disabilities, and one of our projects is also what we call a respite center, where we provide daycare and evening care for special needs children. And this money is going toward setting up a special room. We have kind of a large room in our respite center, and we discovered that some of the autistic children were being overstimulated. So we have set up a separate room inside of the large room, which you all help fund, along with a special swing and a climbing wall. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Eric. This is by the way, Margaret is down at the office helping out while Jane recovers from her shoulder surgery. So, Margaret, we're so thankful for that. Thank you very much. And Sergeant at Arms, Janet Rockefeller.
Okay, I've got to put my glasses on for this. Are you ready? Thank you. Okay, the catch of the week this week is Forrest Cameron. Forrest, are you here?
Over there.
Forrest, you kept sending me everything. It was like, this is what was in the September, these are the Rotarians that were in the September Greater Tulsa Reporter. Richard Holmes, Desiree Doherty, John Stava, Stephanie Cameron, Linda Bradshaw, Kathy Taylor, Karen Keith, and Don Walker, just to name a few. So, Forrest, thank you very much. It's like the Rotarians have their own newspaper, so we really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, and now for the fines, and boy, you September guys are wonderful. I thought my August guys were wonderful, but September, you're really, really doing great. Steve, $80, happy birthday, and he wanted to do this for his, so he must be 40, and I'm not sure what the math adds up to, but you can tell us later. It's for his wedding anniversary, too. Okay, and then John Brock, $100, and he's celebrating his birthday by giving to others. Thank you so much, John. That's wonderful. Tom Nally gave $100 for his birthday. I don't know how old you are, though, so I didn't put it down there. Your age was unavailable. Okay, Richard Gibbs, $100 for your birthday, and it goes to Crescendo. Hooray, yay, Crescendo. We're all happy about that. And then I just saw Bill Gaddis, and he gave me a check for $200 in honor of his lively grandchildren, Olivia, Connor, and Benjamin. So thank you very much for that, Bill. Okay, you can clap. And then I got $200 from this Bill. He's so cool, but he had birthday and Rotary anniversary this month, so double duty. He only has to hear from me one time this year. Lucky guy.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Oh, and then here's Tim Caldwell, multi-purpose fine, $200. I couldn't figure out how much it was for his birthday, years of marriage, Rotary, and age of grandchildren, so if you'd like to write it down and figure it out on your own, feel free. But that was too much work for me. Okay, Dana paid a fine because, thanks Greg Keck, she took some of her senior management with Clifford Powers to Jackie Cooper, and he shared his best business practices, and she just wanted to thank him by paying a $100 fine. So thank you, Greg, and thank you, Dana. Okay, and then we have Jerry Russell, and you are absolutely hilarious because he sent $100, $80 for his birthday, and then $20 because he got an email from a Rockefeller. I mean, really. You know. So if anyone else wants to do that, I'll announce it too. And then he gave another $100 because Forrest was absolutely correct when he honored Karen Keith in her amazing career and Dawn Walker. And the banquet for Dawn last night was just absolutely fabulous. So
Thank
you
you,
very much,
Jerry.
you guys. And thank you,
Sweet.
Jerry. Okay, and finally we have Linda Bradshaw. Linda paid a $100 fine, and she sent me an email. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information just very quickly. Okay. She's celebrating her 71st birthday. See, I hid it, so it really looks like it's 51st. And 75th Diamond Jubilee of the Will Rogers Memorial. Now, this poster will tell you that September 19th, she's celebrating in Claremore at the memorial, and then on the 20th, the celebration's at the Caines Ballroom. And it's a benefit concert. Jesse Coulter's playing, son of Jesse Coulter and Waylon Jennings, and I know everybody here was born when they started their careers, so I know you know who they are. You can celebrate with her September 20th by buying tickets at it's cainesballroom.com, or I have 2 free tickets and 2 backstage passes that Linda is going to let me give away if you can give me a Will Rogers quote that isn't, "I never met a man I didn't like," because I think Linda really said that one. But, okay, anybody have any ideas? What is it? What is it?
He said of the Ziegfeld Folly girls that just think in 20 years they'll be 5 years old.
Ding, 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 ding. And
No one else? Okay, if you think of one, let Linda know, and I'll get you your pads and your backstage. Thank you.
Janet, well done. Thank you. I'm taking presidential privilege today in introducing our wonderful speaker. Over 25 years ago, I got a call from this pushy Aussie. She wanted to do a special segment on my noon show. And it turned out to be the one and only Kerry Vincent. We immediately bonded. In fact, I was astonished by her moxie. That was a long time ago. And Kerry's now an international star and the center of attention when the Tulsa State Fair opens its doors on her 20th anniversary of the Sugar Art Show. Kerry was inducted into the International Cake Exploration Society Hall of Fame in 2004, Dessert Professional Hall of Fame in 2010, founder of the Grand National Wedding Cake Competition, and of course the Sugar Art Show. Probably best known as the tough-talking judge on the Food Network Challenge. Kerry was a huge hit on 60 Minutes Australia. So look at this clip. Thank you, Doug Padgett.
Deep in America's heartland, one of the country's great traditions. It's the Tulsa State Fair in Oklahoma. But it's not just the cowboys that attract the crowds. It's cakes, the big, the fancy, and the ostentatious. And with all the icing on these cakes, Australian Kerry Vincent is the star of the show. You're a celebrity in the US.
In the cake niche, yes. I'm not up there with Nicole Kidman or any of those, but I certainly have my followers.
All right, please welcome the Queen of Cakes, the only person to really put us on an international stage probably since Will Rogers, because the world knows about this woman, Tulsa's own Kerry Vincent.
Thank you for having me. Actually, I don't very often get a chance to speak to people who don't have much to do with about cake. So for you to understand a little bit about me, I was born in Western Australia. I was on a station, which is the equivalent of a ranch, when I was very small. Our closest neighbour was 269 miles away. We had party line telephone. You had so many rings and you picked up. It was so lonely that some of the women who lived on the other stations listened in on other people's phone calls. But you couldn't blame them. We had no TV and very little radio. I learned my schooling on pedal radio, which is rather like a treadle sewing machine. And School of the Air in Australia is available to every child so that they are contacting teachers in the metropolitan area. So for me, it's a huge transition. I got through my early years, and one day I woke up. I had a really good job. It was public relations, and I said to my parents, I think I'm leaving for England. And they said, okay, when? I said, in about a month. And they said, okay, when? I said, when I get a ticket. They said, okay, let us know. 46 years later, I'm still on the road. I left to go for a couple of years and met Mr. Vincent, and he decided that we needed to get married, so I took off and left him in England and went home because I'd been there for 3 years. And he got on a plane in 1973 and came out to Australia looking for a bit of sun and sunshine, because the English winter was having one of these the coal miners strike. So to make a long story short, all of Oxford Street, all of Regent Street, all the places that you know where you travel to visit was a blackout. And that Louisiana boy was not really ready for the blackout. So he arrived, and after he'd been there for a couple of weeks, he asked me to get married, and I said, okay, let's do it. And so I went back in a couple of months to England. We got married in London and then began the rest of the life. So after an expat life of quite a few years, we ended up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because his head office was here, which was Combustion Engineering, CE Natco. From there, we moved in, and after a couple of years, I was having not much on my mind, and so I thought I would get into involving myself in cake. And there's a little bit of a roundabout story as to how I got into it, because somebody asked me to make a cake because I was a good cook, but I didn't know much about celebration cake. So this person who asked me to do the cake was actually having a wedding and wanted a wedding cake, and I thought, well, I think I can manage it. So I went down and had a little conversation with the cake shop, and they said, you buy this equipment, and this is what you do. And so I went home, I messed around with it for a couple of days, and I told my friend, yes, I can do it. What I didn't realize was that the bridesmaids at weddings are the ones that actually generate business. So I had just gone there to make one cake for a friend, and that was going to be it. But I had 6 bridesmaids beating their way to my door, asking me if I would make them a wedding cake. And I said, no, I'm not interested in that. That was a one-shot deal. Who knew? And so from then on, it was really a game, because one by one they fell off the perch when I kept saying no. And then finally, the final one, who had an 18-month out date, I agreed to do her cake because she was so persistent. And I did it, and then I told her, I said, I will cut your tongue out if you tell anybody who made this cake. I mean it. But then I found out that she couldn't keep a secret, because the bridesmaids started ringing all over again, says, oh my God, here we go again. So I said no to all of them and went to Australia. And I thought about it and thought, well, if I'm resonating, maybe there is a future for me to do something with this. So I bought some books and taught myself. So the one thing that's unusual about me is I'm totally self-taught, and yet I'm considered in the top 10 international best decorators ever. And I've had 2 halls of fame to support that, because I was actually nominated by all my peers. It wasn't somebody that just pulled it out of a hat. So I decided that I would do some specialist weddings, and I did a few custom jobs, and that was good. And then I ran into a few cake ladies and lamented the fact that there wasn't a competition available to us in this region. Nothing. Every time we wanted to compete, it was either the East Coast or the West Coast. And I thought, I don't want to have to keep getting in my car and driving 27 hours just to go somewhere to bring a cake. So my friend and I, Maxine Boyington, who is now deceased, sadly, we sat down over my kitchen table and we had a conversation about what we could do to have a competition in town. Here or Oklahoma City, we didn't care. She lived there, I lived here. And so this kitchen cabinet, we determined that we would set up some rules. We would find a place for us to have this thing at. We had no money. So I tootled down to the Promenade Mall and had a conversation with the mall management and said, I can fill up your hall, all your halls with cakes everywhere, and this will be wonderful for bringing the walking audience in, and while they're here, they'll spend money. And they thought, well, maybe we'll give it a shot. And then they started mumbling to me about things like insurance and millions of dollars worth of insurance. It's like my eyes glazed over. I said, no. You know, we're going to be your entertainment. You have to take care of that. Well, I wasn't really together with the way things worked in the United States as far as that was concerned. But anyway, we came to terms and they covered the insurance. We set up for the first competition and thought, well, it could be just Maxine and I there, because we didn't know if anybody was going to come or not. We felt sure they would, of course. But as it turned out, we had 148 entries. From then on, we knew that we had a winner and a tiger by the tail. So I said to Maxine, after a couple of years at the mall, I said, we need to do something bigger. And she said, we've got a good show. I said, yeah, but that's not what I got in mind. I said, I want big. I said, everybody, when I go to New York and talk to them about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and cake in the same breath, and I'm listening to them mentally with their feet going up on the table and their eyes glazing over. This poor little woman came up from Tulsa, where? Tell what? What? Oklahoma wants a cake show? Are you kidding? They even told me I should move there. I said, I'm not moving anywhere. I said, I need a competition here in the center. So as I left them all one by one, I promised them that within 5 years that they would be asking for my press release. In 3, I got my first request. So I did have a tiger by the tail, because what I envisioned was that I should have a competition, not just cakes on a table, but each of the cakes should have their own table. And the designers should decorate the tables in keeping with the design of the cake. How many weddings have I been to where somebody said to me, and think about this, every one of you here today, the dilemma of the cake person. Make me an elegant cake. It needs to be simple. It needs to be perfect. And then you get down to the venue, and this dogwood, simply elegant cake is going to sit on a Mardi Gras cake from on a Mardi Gras tablecloth from New Orleans. That was the straw that broke my camel's back. So I had this thing in my head that we needed to have tables everywhere. And everybody who's in the business get the opportunity to see the cake their way. And so that worked out pretty good for a couple of years. And then I decided that, I skipped one thing. I outgrew them all. So bye-bye Promenade. Where do we go now? That was almost a moment where we had to fold. But never say never. and I'm always resilient. And as you noticed, I keep on keeping on. And so I thought, well, where can I go? So you go to a hotel and you want the ballroom, and then you're talking $10,000. We didn't have $10,000. We didn't even have $100. So I thought, what about the fair? The fair needs me. So I went down there and had a conversation with the fair. With my portfolio of wonderful publicity. Thank you very much, Karen. And the Tulsa World, and all of the other newspapers and magazines that supported me. We look good on paper, and we're pretty, so we're not hard to sell. So I get down there, and luckily for me, a new manager was moving in. The money had been spent for the year, and I had a new event that would look pretty good on the first year of that manager who had no money to spend. So in we went, and we started off in the Moden, Oklahoma building, and we were very close to the cattle barns. Oh my, did we have to put up with the flies. I was running around with all of these strips of paper and stuff, hanging them all over the place, and we were spraying like crazy. Then the fair got a bit of an idea about what this was all about, and then they decided we could be moved from the cow barn and would take us over to the upper level of the expo building, where we have remained ever since. So not one to be sort of put down by anything or bothered by other people's opinions, I decided that we needed to actually have an opportunity to be on TV. And so I went to Food Network and I said, I need this show to be on television. I want a special. I said, oh, we don't do specials because we need series, you know. I said, well, you can't do a series out of a one-shot deal. It happens once a year. But I persisted, and they actually came here 4 times and did 4 complete specials on the show. And that stuff is shown in 150 nations. So the bottom line is, for tourism, I have been a major asset to what happens in Tulsa relating to cake. So then I decided that they needed to have a challenge in Tulsa. And I asked them, would they put one on at the fairgrounds, at the Sugar Art Show? And they said yes. So along they came, all of the logistics were worked out, and we did have actually a really great challenge there. And some of the great artists have actually evolved out of this connection with cake and with television, including myself. I have been very fortunate because I've had 5, 6 shows now and 13 seasons on Challenge, all as a result of me twisting their arms to come to Tulsa. What I didn't know at the time when I was pushing for it was that Food Network had decided to begin Challenge, and they were looking for judges. And they had me for the voiceovers for the special. And the editor that was here with the executive producer, they went back to Food Network and said, we just did this special, but we think we found the judge that you've been looking for. And a few days later, I got a phone call. And so the rest is history. 192 episodes. Even you know that is a lot in television. So then all of the doors opened for many, many, many of the competitors. Some of the great ones, if any of you have ever seen Challenge, came from the Oklahoma State Sugar Art Show because the best of the best compete here. They don't go to New York. They don't go to Los Angeles, and they don't go to Atlanta. They come to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And all of them love coming here because they know they're going to be up against the best of the best. They also know that I am very active in accessing inch by inch, bit by bit, because all of the sugar art community is populated by mom and pop businesses with small budgets. So every one of them gives me a little bit here, a little bit there. Last year, at the end, when I totted up everything that I gave away, was $66,000 in cash and a totaling to $105,000 with merchandise. That's a lot of money in cake. A lot of money anyway. The winner walked away with $20,000, which for a cake is a heck of a lot of money. They work on them for a long time. Do not think that a cake doesn't involve art and a lot of work, especially competition pieces. I hear so many times from people, oh, it's only a cake. No, it's not. It's artwork. And the artwork that goes into it can be compared with all of the other artistic endeavors. Artists, sculptors, you name it. The only thing that we don't do is music. But we can do anything cake and sugar that anybody else can do. And we are finding, because we are hot and on fire, that most of the people who are in those disciplines are moving into our territory, which is fine if they just decide to learn the sanitation world. They think that they can use the same tools that they used while they were down at their little art studio somewhere. And so I am the policewoman of all things great and wonderful when it comes to those who think it's okay to draw on a cake with a pencil. And it is not going to happen on my watch, that I am going to assure you. So from there, the Sugar Art Show attracted somebody like 60 Minutes. Who would have thought? Everybody that I know is like, how could that be? But we are generating a lot of money. And there's a lot of people who are making a lot of money. It used to be that, you know, if you paid $25, $30 for a cake, it was a big deal. People are now getting thousands. I had on my card, which was pretty arrogant, but I kind of like it, was, I do not open my oven door under $2,000. So don't bother me. The other decorators in town loved it because I didn't mind saying no. I would stick up for what I stood for. But if I didn't open my oven door under $2,000, and I sent them off, okay, go to talk to this person. I'll give you their phone number. You can have it there for $1,500. That was 3 times what they used to get, but it looked cheap in comparison to what I was asking for. So I have been a trailblazer because I do believe that people deserve to be paid for the effort that they put in and for good ingredients. You get what you pay for. If you want junk, you'll pay junk prices. I truly believe in that. And it absolutely is true in any kind of walk of life. So the cake community has really scrambled in this last 10 years. Television made it explode. The viewers that were watching it, it was just amazing. There were 7 cake shows in prime time in the last 4 years, consistently together. It would never have happened before. Prior to that, prior to 2000, it was Sleepy Hollow. Nobody cared about cake. It was like, okay, just get a cake and put it on the table. Now you can have anything you want. You can create a really custom thing that will suit you personally, privately. Whereas before, it was all formula. Now it's degrees. You have the designers like me, then you have people who copy the designers, the custom middle of the road, and then you have people who are willing to copy everything in Martha Stewart and any other wedding cake book that they can get a picture or somebody's going to bring them a picture, and then you have production. And those people have to get a cake out in 3.5 minutes, and it's going to be priced accordingly. So you have to look at all of the levels before you decide what you need to have or purchase. But to me, cake has always been fascinating, and I like watching the fact that I can mentor all of these up-and-coming people, that I can push them through doors that they never ever imagined would be open to them. When I did 60 Minutes, I heard people who said, oh, you know, so she's on 60 Minutes. And my response to that is, if I'm on 60 Minutes, then it's your responsibility to follow me through that door, and you need to make your own opportunities. Sometimes people get so involved in jealousies that they don't see the forest for the trees. And I'm always mindful of one of the things that Lee Kuan Yew said when I lived in Singapore, which was, if you stand by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will come floating by. And I truly believe in that. And it's not to say that my life is loaded down with enemies, but it is having a moment where there are naysayers who will try to be negative about what you're doing. And I don't believe in it, and I think to myself, I've just got to forge on no matter what. This year, we have our 20th anniversary. It's going to be a big deal. The fair is very excited about it. I am too. It's bringing people from South Africa to compete, Sri Lanka, from England, Australia, and other parts of the nations like the Bermudas and South America, all the Latin American countries. So this is not bad for a little town of 450,000 people that's hosting an event like this. And so I'm very proud of it, and I hope it will go on forever. But I also am very mindful of the fact that I have an expiration date, which is sooner rather than later. I am not 25 anymore, and it's something, I am a one-man band. I don't have a committee. I get all of these little bits of paper after the show saying, thank you so much, you and your staff. There is no staff. I am the staff. You know. You ready to get rid of me? You ready to get rid of me? Okay. If it's a plumber's friend or show director, I am going to be doing those jobs, excuse me. I'm targeting $120,000 worth of stuff this year. So I want more of it money than stuff. And I hope to make that target. I'm getting very close to, so that's amazing. I think as far as the tourism perspective, we have buses that come in here from all over the country where they drop off their bus loads to come in and spend money in Tulsa. My contestants that come in with their families are spending money all over town, filling up hotel rooms and all that sort of thing, which is one of the reasons why I got October 6 as my day, which was really something to do with the hospitality industry. I hadn't realized that I'd made quite such an impact. But it just goes to show what can happen when you have a dream. And sometimes it's like Topsy, it just keeps on growing. And I never, ever have had anything in my vocabulary that says the word can't. And I have never been the person who's dead when they're 20 and don't live their life. I have lived every inch of my life the best I can. Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes it works out really well. If you make this mistake a second time, more fool you. So I try not to repeat that. But ideally, I hope that we can keep going for at least another 5 years. By that stage, I'll be close to 75, and I'm wondering just how many ever-ready bunnies I've got left in me. So, thank you.
Okay. That Sugar Art Show, don't leave, I've got one real special announcement. That Sugar Art Show is Saturday and Sunday, September 28th and 29th. Go by and make your way through the crowds. It is an absolute hoot. You won't forget it. And we have this book, and it will go to our Celia Clinton Partner in Education. It's A Hen for Kerry Vincent.
Thank you.
Now, thank you. That was just wonderful. You can stay right here if you wish. All right. Our upcoming program is President David Boren from Oklahoma University. Wear your red if it's painful. The following week will be Judge Robert Henry. He's an incredible speaker. I think you'll enjoy him. And then invitations to the September 24th Global Vision Awards dinner are available near the badge box. You can also pick up a program for the Tulsa State Fair, and inside it you'll see the Sugar Art Show.
She has vested interest.
I do have vested interest. Just leave it to you to put me in my place. All right. Today we're going to celebrate a very special anniversary. 50 years in Rotary. Now, I want to know if you recognize this strapping young man. Known for having a camera handy at all times, he has over the years recorded our history and the history of Tulsa. Our own Jerry Cornelius was instrumental. I know that one is funny, Jerry. I'm sorry. Jerry was instrumental in helping save the Burl Ford collection with a huge donation from our club. Jerry began the process of scanning and making the collection available to the public through the Tulsa Historical Society and the Tulsa Public Library. I am so proud to call Jerry Cornelius my friend and congratulate him on 50 years in Rotary. 50 years of making a difference in our club and our community. And Janet has a little something for you. It's probably not going to, I'm just going to cover the eyes right here because it's a cupcake. Janet, if you would bring that over. And I want to thank Angela and Andrea for coming today, for this very special occasion. Janet Sheff at Cox Communications did that for us. So, Janet, thank you so much for making that happen. And Jerry, thank you. You want to stand up and show off your cake? Don't get it on your jacket. There you go. Turn around. Turn around. And on that cupcake note, I will bid you all farewell. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you. You are awesome. Was that all right?
You are awesome. No, it was